The last couple of weeks I've been talking about the movie Beaches, and I must admit until yesterday afternoon I hadn't seen it. I hadn't told you that I'd seen it, but I was just saying that I'd heard great reports about it. Well, I can tell you now, it really is an excellent movie. Stand by for one of the real blockbusters of this year. It's comedy, it stars Bette Midler, and it's just a delightful movie. It's got everything. I guess, if anything, it's an old-fashioned movie in that there's a lot of escapism there, but the performances by the actors and actresses are outstanding. And this afternoon, it's my pleasure to introduce to you two of the bright young stars from the movie. They actually play the main characters when they're little girls. And their names are Mayim Bialik and Marcie Leeds. But first up, just before we cross to our Los Angeles studios, I'd like you to see a performance by Mayim, which I think will prove to you there's no doubt that they're setting their sights on bigger and better things, and they will achieve them, because it's a wonderful first up performance.
Gotta win a little, lose a little. How is it that lose a little? That's the story of, that's the glory of love. My mama told me that's the glory of love.
Please welcome, from our Los Angeles studios, Mayim Bialik and Marcie Leeds. Welcome, girls. Firstly, Mayim, what happened to your hair? It's no longer red.
It's a wig. It's a wig, a red wig.
By gosh, it's a great wig then. It's a wonderful wig. How did you feel about going red for the movie?
Oh, it was great. It was a lot of fun, you know, stepping into a character.
Sure.
So.
I believe when you auditioned first up for the movie, the first audition wasn't successful.
No, I think it was. I think everything went okay, and you know, I finally met Bette and Gary Marshall, so.
And they were happy with your work. I'm sorry about that. I was misled, and I wouldn't like to mislead you. Mayim, is this your very first movie?
No, it's my really first big one that's come out and, you know, people like. But I did an AFI film, which is like a student film. And I did a horror film that came out here called Pumpkinhead, but, you know, it was just a small part.
And how did you find the divine Miss Midler?
I'm sorry, I don't understand your question.
How did you enjoy working with Bette Midler?
Oh, she's real sweet. She was always, you know, really supportive when it came to all the scenes. And Barbara Hershey also, you know, they were both really sweet. It's
a great movie. It's a very funny movie. Marcie, what about you? How did you go about auditioning for the role?
Well, I went in and they told me a little bit about the character. And I stepped into, like, you know, I would normally act like Barbara Hershey. I got to meet her. And she told me some of her ways, and, you know, like she would bite her hair, or that's something that I did in the movie, or she'd cross her arms and rub her arms. And she taught me all that stuff, so, you know, I added it in that to make it look like it was really Barbara Hershey. And that's exactly what I did, and I did it for both Bette and Barbara, and they liked me.
Well, no wonder, because you're terrific in the movie. This is not your first movie. This is your fifth, I believe.
Yes, it is.
What other movies have you done?
LBJ, The Early Years. I'm not sure that was on it there.
I don't think so.
It's with Randy Quaid and Patti LuPone. And then there was When the Bow Breaks. It was a TV special with Ted Danson. And I did Near Dark. And I've done a recurring role on Beauty and the Beast. And I'm doing a new movie now. It's called I Know My First Name is Steven. And it's about a little boy when he gets kidnapped at 7 years old, and he winds up escaping from this man who kidnapped him, and he returns 7 years later. So I'm working on a movie now, and that's it.
And who's in that movie with you?
Pardon?
The movie you're making now, who's in that movie with you?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Have you ever heard of that movie?
Yes, very successful here.
The parent, the woman who played his mother, Ferris Bueller's mother, she's playing the mother in this movie. And John Ashton from Beverly Hills Cop, he's playing in this movie too as the father. So that's
Sounds good. Mayim, I believe, and I hope I'm right with this information, I'm told that you had the inside running slightly because your mum and dad had some early film of Bette Midler on which you could work.
No, not really. They had, you know, I kind of knew, being the, you know, next generation, I kind of knew of her recent films, and my parents, you know, they knew of her older films that I wasn't alive, you know, to hear. But they used to make films in New York, anti-war films. So they had kindly, you know, kind of known Bette Midler's early stuff, and I had known her later stuff.
Right. You going to stay in movies and acting?
Pardon?
Are you going to stay in movies and acting?
Maybe. Actually, I'm really interested in marine biology. You know, water, and I know you guys have a lot of it down there. But I like acting a lot, and I think I'm going to stay with it for a while.
And what about you, Marcie?
Yeah, I'm planning on staying with it for a pretty long time.
Well, let me tell you, you've got a terrific movie there. It opens here in Australia on the 20th of April, which is in a couple of weeks' time, and I forecast it's going to be a big hit right around the country. It's doing terrific business in America, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Well, the same thing's going to happen over here. It's been a delight to meet you both. Congratulations on 2 excellent performances, and I hope to see you both here one day in Australia.
Thank you. I hope all of you enjoy it.
All the best, girls. Bye now. Mayim Bialik and Marcie Leeds, 2 young stars of Beaches. And I was talking to Alan Finney from Village Roadshow yesterday after seeing a preview of the movie, and he's a pretty knowledgeable guy so far as movies are concerned, and I suppose there's a little bit of bias there because he wants it to go well, but he believes that it's going to be one of the big hits of 1989, and myself, with no bias at all, I believe it's going to be just that. Look out for it with Bette Midler and the 2 girls we've met today, Mayim and Marcie. Beaches, it's called, and it's a good, fun, escapist film, which is wonderful. Incidentally, just as a matter of interest, I expected Mayim to say yes, she was unsuccessful at her first audition, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. And the other thing too was, I thought there was going to be a fascinating story about the fact that it was so beautiful, I wanted to mention it, that her mother and father made underground movies in the 70s about the war and so forth, which he did mention, and they got this hitherto unseen footage of Bette Midler performing at a low club in the Bronx, and that's where she furtively used to watch the movie before going to the studio each day to see all the nuances of Bette Midler. Nothing to do with it.